Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Guys, today I want to share with you all what the new #1 Seer build is. I'm going to go ahead and give a spoiler alert. It is not the Merciless set. While the Merciless set may give you the most defense ignore, and you may do the most damage in the end, the issue with that is it has a similar issue to what her current build has, and that is it's taking gear that I would rather use on my arena champions and using on Seer, who doesn't need to be crazy beyond this world stats to do her job, but I still want to do a ton of damage. So the build I'm about to show you is better than this current Savage crit damage build, but it doesn't take up the gear that I would rather use on my arena champions who actually need this high quality gear. So we're going to do a few tests on floor 8 to compare the damage just with Siphi and Seer. So the ranges I've been getting is about 232 on the low end, about 250 on the high end. This next one, let's see what she does, just for some comparison. So this next fight, she doesn't have Helm Smasher, she has Flawless Execution, 244. So in the 232 to 250 range, somewhere around there, it's gonna have some fluctuations. But when we look at Seer, something you're gonna notice, and you may even have a similar situation in your account, where she has a pretty good weapon, she has a pretty good helmet, she has a pretty good shield, it's a really solid pair of gloves. Matter of fact, I actually recently put these over on my Georgia because they were that good, I needed them on him, and that's what kind of spurred this idea on. And then we have the chest plate, which is pretty good as well, and the pair of boots, which if they re-rolled into speed or attack percentage, could be some pretty awesome crit damage boots. These pieces could be separated to different champions, but they're currently being used to my Seer, who is going through the Doom Tower, working on dungeons, doing quite a bit of jobs, right? So she was in several areas of the game, and her stats are also looking very solid. 385% crit damage, 218 speed, good accuracy, and some survivability, which is all the stats Seer needs. For the Blessing, we have Crushing Rend, 6-star. We're going to talk more about that later on, but then her Masteries, this is the setup. We have Flawless Execution for more consistency. Helm Smasher will do a little bit more damage, but we're looking for consistency. Now, something to pay attention to here is that the Savage set ignores 25% of defense. The reason why I compared Merciless at first is because I knew it's going to be the most popularly commented thing, is because 6-piece Merciless ignores 35%. So the most optimal defense ignore set would be Merciless plus Cruel, 6-piece. So you have 4 up here, 2 at the bottom, and then 2-piece Cruel. You're getting 40% defense ignore, which is huge. But the issue is you're taking some of your best gear and putting it on Seer when she doesn't need that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take a set that many players don't use that much of, and we're going to throw it on Seer and see that it actually gives her all the benefits you're looking for. It saves this amazing gear, your Savage gear, your Merciless for other champions, and you still get an incredible Seer build. So I'm going to go ahead and put the pieces on her that I know she has had from earlier. Matter of fact, we're actually missing some crit damage from this piece. This is the piece that the optimizer said was the best, but we're also going to use a 2-piece set that you've probably never even used in your account, to be honest. And that's the Zeal set. So the Zeal set is like a crit damage set, but a little bit better. So it's going to give us an extra 20% crit damage, but also an extra 3% damage for every 25% HP this champion has. So if she has a 100% HP, then we're getting an extra 12% damage. Not an extra 12% crit damage, but an extra 12% damage, because there's going to be 4 chunks of 25 to get to 100. You guys know math, but here we go. Now her build may look a little bit lower quality. Let me make sure that this is the actual correct pieces that I did from the optimizer. So we have the HP percentage chest plate. We have the gloves with no speed. No, these gloves should have speed, actually. I was wondering why she looks so slow there. So crit damage gloves right here with these ones with speed. There we go, an extra 15 speed. This is what I'm looking for. The chest plate's correct. The boots are defense percentage. And we have this helmet right here with a crit damage and crit rate. Very nice. So now she's actually dropping 12 crit damage. She's losing a little bit of speed, but as long as she's speed tuning your team, that's all that matters. We could actually come in here, get an extra 20% crit damage, which would be 393% crit damage if I re-rolled this, some extra speed, and she would be looking so good. Extra accuracy as well for different areas of the game. But now, let's jump into stage 8 of the Doom Tower, where I was comparing it at earlier, and see how much she's doing this point. So now we got the gear switched over. We got less crit damage than before, but we're going to be gaining 12% damage. We have 30% defense ignore, so we should be seeing some pretty high hits here. So now she's doing, let's see, 264,000 damage. Now, of course, this is just an example with a few buffs on the team, no decreased defense, nothing like that on the enemy team. Of course, the difference would be quite a bit higher after that. So the first one was 264. The second one was 289. That is a big difference in damage. I don't know the exact percentage difference in damage, but That's a pretty good chunk of damage difference considering she dropped crit damage. We actually went lower crit damage, but we got the extra damage boost from the Zeal set, plus the extra defense ignore from the Slayer set. And the reason why Slayer works so good is because Slayer's 6-piece specifically, you got to make sure you have the 6-piece. So for me, I have the 4-piece here and then 2 accessories, which if you did the recent Deck of Fate a while back, you got some accessories for orcs. I'm sure you have a decent ring and a decent banner, maybe not a very good necklace because it needs to be crit damage, but you probably have something that could work. So Slayer specifically ignores defense when enemies are hit with a AoE skill. In Seer's case, the only skill you really care about is her A3 skill. Like her A1, it can maybe do a little bit of damage, but to be honest, this is not what you're building her for, right? You're building her for this A3 ability doing a lot of damage, and since it's an AoE attack, it's going to be ignoring 30% of enemies' defense. It's also going to be boosting her turn meter, but that's not really going to matter because it's not staying, that turn meter boost isn't like staying with her from round to round, so she still stays speed tuned with your team. Assuming you're not using multiple Seer nukes, she's going to be perfectly fine. And this set is far less used than many other sets because you don't have as many champions who can fit into a Slayer set. Now for me, I'm actually going to lower her stats just a little bit because this is using some of my Obero stuff. But that's okay. I'm going to put it back on her and I'll adjust my Seer down just a little bit. But Slayer is far less in demand than Savage, where you need Savage gear. Matter of fact, I actually got to put the pieces back on my Georgid because that's who was using it before I moved it over to Seer, because he needs these crit damage gloves that she had. I have other champions who could use the crit damage set boots that she had, the chest plate she had. But now let's go over here to the dungeons and see how easy it is for her to just walk through these waves, basically. So we're going to use I need a little bit faster Kymar, I believe. Let's see if I can find a faster one in my account, because this one's not resetting at the right time, unfortunately. But we can do these waves without any decreased defense. We don't need the decreased defense, guys. That's really all there is to it. Just no decreased defense needed. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have a Kymar who's properly speed tuned to this. Let's see. Okay, this is good. So we'll open with, actually, no resets on this wave. And then the next wave, we have a reset. And then we should be good to go. So let's see. Let's see how this goes. On Ice Golem, just for an example, on Ice Golem's got pretty tanky waves on stage 10. And Seer, let's see if she can actually do this. With 2 buffs on her. Let's see how many buffs there are. Okay, so they're already down. Let's see how many buffs there are. So no shield set, no decreased defense. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buffs. Does she do it? 9 buffs, guys. 9 buffs. The Seer destroyed that wave. No decreased defense. No shield set. No immunity sets. Just 9 buffs throughout the team. Seer nuked the wave. Slayer plus Zeal, I believe, is the way to go. If you're looking for a strong build in your Seer, Zeal set's kind of difficult to work on a lot of champions. If you can make it work, it's great, of course. It's a very solid set. But Slayer specifically is the key thing to focus in on here, is because if you've gotten the Slayer set, I've seen a lot of players just sitting on a ton of Slayer gear, but their Seers be built very strong and like Savage or even Lethal, because you do need her to do a lot of damage. So you need her to be built strong, but you don't need her doing that much damage and using all your other good high quality gear like your Lethal and your Savage stuff, when you could just throw her in Slayer and have her doing as much damage or more and freeing up your gear for other champions. So in this build, she actually gets an extra 5% defense ignore. Of course, you could throw in Cruel or you could do crit damage. You have all the other options for the 2-piece, but the main thing is that 6-piece Slayer, ideally with 2 accessories. Like I said, if you did the Deck of Fate or whatever it was a while back where you get the Slayer pieces, it makes it even that much better. So this is for Ice Golem. Let's go to Dragon real quick and see how quickly we can get to the boss. Now, I don't typically do a team for Dragon. I usually just do the solo champions there. But just out of curiosity, can this team also just nuke down the Dragon stuff? Let's see. Just no Ghostborn. No Ghostborn at all. Just the buffs. How strong can she hit? How hard does she hit here? Not quite. Very, very close, though. So if we just had Ghostborn, it'd be fine. If we had Ghostborn alone, let's see. I used to use Ghostborn plus Elva to nuke the waves, but now with the Crushing Rin 6-star, you do need that because it ignores like 35% defense. It ignores 1% for every 10 levels, so 35% defense ignore there. We're getting 30% defense ignore from her Slayer set, so we're at 65% defense ignore. If you worked for the area bonuses, you could get a little bit more, but to be honest, we don't really need all that. So Ghostborn's at 271, so we'll open with that. Open with this. Let's see what kind of damage she hits for here. And then we can jump in and test her like in the arena or something, some other areas where you may want to use her. So Ghostborn does that, and then she hits 4. I didn't even see the number. but I'm sure it was big. Let's see here. We'll turn to 1x speed. See what she hits for now. So here comes her nuke. 451, 888,000 damage there. Almost 1,000,000 damage. That's with few buffs. So we have, what, 4 increased attacks, 8, I guess 8 buffs overall. 8 buffs. That is crazy. 8 buffs, and she's doing 800,000 damage on some champions. That is just so much. Now, of course, this is not going to be a team that I actually run because I don't actually do dragon, like farming like that. This is mostly relatable for the Doom Tower for me specifically because I don't use Seer a whole lot outside of the Doom Tower. Dungeon content, just don't farm it that much. But when I do use Seer's team sometimes. But a lot of it's just solo content, honestly. So the amount of times I use Seer is much less than it used to be. But for a lot of players, that's not the case. Like, she is your go-to champion. She can also be good in the arena. We come in here, we see, okay, let's go Armand. Instead of Wukong, let's just throw in a Seer, right? Let's just throw her in here, see what she does. She's going to smack them, guys. I can guarantee you that. She's going to smack them, probably with no decreased defense even applied. She doesn't need it. She's just going to ignore so much. They're going to be dead. It's really all there is to it. As long as we don't get sheeped. If we get sheeped, then it's over. Okay, we're not sheeped. It's fantastic. I hate getting sheeped. So now, let's sleep her. And Seer, do your thing. Let's see. How much damage? Boom. 70,000, 70,000. Yeah. There's no decreased defense applied, guys. No decreased defense whatsoever. And she did plenty of damage. So if you're looking for a new, strong Seer build that is not only better than the Savage build for one, but also frees up that Savage, that lethal gear for you, try this out. I actually realized this yesterday in somebody's account that I was doing an account takeover for. I'm like, wait. Slayer works for her. I had to test it, and you can tell that it works for her because of the fact that, one, she's doing as much as she did in Savage, but for two, you can see that it boosts her turn meter times 4 whenever she hits with their A3 skill. So you know it's working. It's ignoring the defense, and it just does so much damage. So, hey, something to consider, something worth trying out. I think this is the new way to build Seer. It's stronger, it's better. Fewer champions are using your Slayer gear anyways versus your Savage, 100,000. You can see the turn meter boost there. So, I mean, it's crazy how much damage she's doing. This is a very strong Seer. Very, very strong. And she's going to be even stronger very soon. If I get a +4, then I'll showcase her like that in the future. But for now, I mean, if you're looking for a build, guys, this is the way to go. Like I said, my Obro, I moved some gear from her. I got to put Seer back in the other gear. Let's see if I can do that right. Actually, I'll do it later on. But I want my Obro to be strong. Obro is like my focus because I got to make her hit hard, right? I got to make her hit hard, as hard as I possibly can. Maybe I'll get a different build on her, though, because she doesn't need any speed whatsoever. So as long as we got plenty of crit rate, we're actually fine with her. So this helmet that Seer has, though, is quite a bit of crit rate. Either way, guys, hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that gives you some new ideas as far as Seer stuff goes. When it comes to your Seer, there's no reason to have all your best gear trapped up in a champion who doesn't push the areas where you really get to feel how much impact the lethal, the Savage stuff makes. So that's one champion you can completely free up now, build her in Slayer, and you're going to be good to go. I really don't see any downside of it. And of course, you can do 9-piece. There's really no reason to do 9-piece Slayer, is there? I mean, if you're not killing them with one hit, you don't need to try another one, do you? That's a little overkill, probably. 9-piece Slayer on Seer. I mean, technically, that would do the most damage, period, because you'd be getting double the AoEs. That would be insane. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what she can do if I put her in a team where, like Dragon 10 Hard, where we used, let's say like a Siphi plus a Lydia. Where's Lydia at? There she is. And then a Bad L. Do I have a Bad L who's built? I don't know if I do or not. But I'm curious how much damage she could do. Like, this is the typical damage test team that people use. Nope, he's not built. And he's probably not built either. Oh, he is built, actually. Let's try this out. Let's see, out of curiosity, how much damage this Seer is doing. It's going to be some crazy high numbers. Turn to 1x. Some poisons on people. And now Seer, do your nuke. Let's see it. Let's see it. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. 2 million, 2 million, 3 million. Some crazy damage, guys. Crazy, crazy damage. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully that gives you a new perspective on Seer. Hopefully it helps you out with your gear. And good luck rebuilding your Seer. Catch you guys in the next one.